Hey guys, this is Mike. This video I'm going to explain the differences and similarities between the different types of price charts. So we're going to look at bar charts, candlesticks, and a line chart. So up on the screen here I have, on the left side I have two examples of bars, and on the right side I have two examples of candlesticks. Now the ones on the top here both represent the same thing. They're both showing the same exact information, and the bar and the candlestick on the bottom are both showing the same exact information also. So let's go through this first bar here and explain what this bar is telling us. Well, on a bar chart, on the left side there will always be a notch like this. That represents the open. So that can be anywhere on this left side. So right now the open's up here, but the open can be here, here, anywhere along this left side. On the right side we have the close, represented by this notch here. And then we have the high, represented by the very top point, and the low represented by the very low point. So that's how a bar is read, and that is always the same. On the right side here we have a candlestick, and this contains the exact same information as the bar does. It's just represented in a different way. And the way it's represented is by this body here. So on the bar chart here we have the open here and the close here. If we take that open and close and fill it in like this, that is exactly what this information is here. So the same information is here, it's just shown in a different way. And the way we know that the open is higher than the close is by the color or the area in the middle. So I chose to represent any time the close is lower than the open, the body of the candle, which is this area, will be colored red. So again, the information is the same, it's just the way it looks on your chart. So let's go over and go to the bottom part here and go through another example. Again, this bar has the same exact information as this candle. In this bar we see again the open's always on the left side, represented by the left notch. The close is on the right side, represented by the right notch. Then we have the high and the low. The area in between the open and the close is the body. And if we look at the candle, that is represented by the green area. So since the area is green, we know that the close is higher than the open. That's what's represented by the color. So if we took on the bar the open here, connected it all the way to the close, and filled this in green, it would now be a candlestick. So again, on the candle we also have the high, represented by the very top, and we have the low here, represented by the very low. So the information is the exact same. You have the open, the high, the low, and the close. It's just a matter of visually how it looks. So whether you decide to use bar charts or candlesticks, you will always be able to get the same information. So let's go ahead here and look at a bar chart. And I just have the British pound versus the US dollar. And what I did here is any bar that has a higher open, any bar that has a lower open than a close will be a green bar. So for example, if we're looking at this bar right here, and we zoom in on that bar, so we're looking at this bar here, we can see the open, remember, is on the left side wherever the left notch is, and the close is on the right side wherever the right notch is. So every time the right notch is higher than the left notch, or the close is higher than the open, the bar is going to be colored green. This indicates that price overall went up. So price started here but it closed here. So overall, the overall movement of the price was up. Again though, looking at this same this bar here, we have the high represented here and the low represented here. So the information we get from this bar is that price opened here. At some point price went down as low as here. At some point price went as high as here, but it closed here. So the overall movement of the price was from here to here. Now, if you look at the next bar, which would be this one, we can see this bar is colored red. So what this means is that the open is higher than the close. So we have the open represented by the left notch and the close represented by the right notch. And every time the right notch is lower than the left notch, that means that the close was lower than the open. We have a red bar or a down bar. Now remember, you can color these bars any way you want, or you can leave them the same color. The information doesn't change. Now if we switch to a candlestick chart, so I'm going to go ahead and switch to candlestick, the information is still the same, but now visually it just looks a little bit different. Every time we have a green bar with a black middle or nothing in the middle, that signifies that price went up. So when we have a green candlestick, that means that the open was lower than the close. So for this bar here, we can see that if we're looking at this bar here, we can see that the open would be here and the close would be here. The reason we know this is because of the color of the bar. I had selected the properties so that every time we have an up bar or a close higher than the open, the bar will be shaded green, or the outline will be green with a black middle. So the second we see a green bar, we always know where the open is. So if we just go through some of these bars here, so we'll just go through all of these green bars, which indicates price has moved up. We know that the open is always going to be the left side and the close the right side. So again, if we're looking at this bar now, the open would be here and the close would be here. If we look at this bar, the open would be here and the close would be here, and so on and so forth for all these bars. Now also on these bars, we have the high points and the low points. So the highest tip that this candlestick went and the lowest that this went are the lows and the highs. Those are often referred to as wicks. So if you look at this as a candle, so it looks like a candle here, and it looks like you can almost, light that candle. So the information is the same as the bar chart though, so we can't ever forget that. So now if we look at this down bar here, so every time there's a down bar, it's going to be represented by a red outline and a white shaded box. So the way we now know that the open is up here and the close is here because of the color of this bar. Excuse me, because of the color of this candlestick. So since this candlestick has an outline of red and a white fill, that means that the open is going to be higher than the close. So that means every candle, so that means every candle that has the red outline and the white interior is going to be a down candle, and that means that the open is always higher than the close. Okay, so that covers bars and candlesticks. So as you can see, it's a little confusing at first when you switch from one to the other, and I know a lot of people originally probably started with candlesticks and they see a lot of the James material in bars, so they're trying to transfer the thought process over, and really all it takes is a little bit of practice and just going through the charts and observing so you can get a feel for what the different patterns look like, and eventually it becomes second nature. and you'll just find whichever one works best for you. The next type of chart I want to talk about is a line chart. So I'm just going to go ahead and switch to a line chart here, and what a line chart represents is the close. So every time a bar closes, it connects the close to each bar. So for example, if we go ahead and look back at, for example, a bar chart, looks like this. Now if we zoom in here and we were to connect the closes of each bar, that would give us our line chart. So if we started with, let's say, this bar here, and we were to connect each of the close, so remember the close is on the right side, it would look something like this. So that's what our line chart would look like. So now if I go ahead and switch to a line chart, we can see that formation. So watch, what I'm going to do here is just outline exactly what the line chart has. So it looks something like this. Then price came up. So on a line chart you have a lot less information, but you can still observe important things. So some people choose to use line charts because it gets rid of everything but the close price. So if we look at the orange here, the orange represents part of this line chart. So now if I go ahead and switch to a bar chart, you can see exactly what it did. It connected each of the close points, and it just draws a line through them. So every time there's a close point, it draws a line through it. And if we switch to a candlestick chart, we can see the exact same thing. It takes the close each time and connects the line. So each of these charts, well, I should say the bar chart and the candlestick chart have the same information. We have the open, we have the high, we have the low, and the close. On the line chart, though, the only thing that is represented on the line chart is the close price.